What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And SPM, the South Park Mexican, officially known as Carlos Coy, has been denied parole. So, thankfully, in my opinion, right? So since October, when he was first up for review, there has been a constant narrative of from his supporters and his fans, which I think it's a disgusting reflection of our society that he has any supporters or fans, right? Just for those that may not know, quick little recap. And I'm not an expert in all things SPM, but he had a victim who was 9 years old, who was his daughter's friend. That he went and did unmentionable stuff with her during a sleepover. Uh, he was arrested. He bailed out. Then he was at a hotel room with some 14-year-old girls. He had a child with a girl that was in middle school when he was an adult. There was talk that maybe she worked at a strip club, but she didn't work at a strip club. Like, there's been an effort by Bash and a bunch of other people from Texas to muddy the waters and create all these different little side stories where it's just one big old conspiracy and poor SPM, right? It's all because I don't know, he was a Mexican doing rap music. Like, I don't get what I don't get it, right? He he did a paternity test on a child. He's the father of the child, and he drove the mom to fucking middle school. Like, this, it's just it's disgusting. So, anyways, he ultimately winds up getting convicted of the stuff with the 9-year old. Texas doesn't even bother, I think, to charge him with the rest of it. He gets like 45 years, right? This is back in 2002, I think. So apparently, how things work in Texas is halfway through your sentence, then they, I guess, automatically sort of look at, hey, maybe you'll get early parole, maybe you'll get out early, and so that process started in October, and he's like started this podcast. It's all kinds of just weird shit over the last few months. I think it was all just a money grab. Uh, I don't, I don't think that he really thought that he was gonna be getting out. Maybe he did. Maybe he's that delusional. I kind of hope that he did because then that would make the notice of him being denied sting even more. Like, if he really had his hopes up and was sitting there privately like, man, I'm about to get out. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to the middle school and then he gets this notice. Nah, fool, you ain't going nowhere. Um, I don't know. It's unfortunate, but it is fortunate that he's not getting out. So what does this say? It says he was denied parole review status, not in parole review anymore. So for the last few months, if you were to look up his name, this is on Texas Department of Criminal Justice website. I will link to it in the description because there will be some people that are like, he just made it up. Google is free. Uh, but so if you looked it up over the last couple months, it would stay in review, right? Because they're looking at his offense. I'm sure they had an interview with them, hearing from victims and all this other stuff to determine if he's going to get out. And now that process is over. He is not in review anymore. Last parole decision, he was denied on January 13th, 2025, which was yesterday. His next review is in January of 2028. Deny favorable parole action and set for next review. Denial reasons. 2D. What is 2D? Here we go. 2D nature of offense. The record indicates the instant offense has elements of brutality, violence, assaultive behavior, or conscious selection of victims' vulnerability. Really, it's all the above. It's all the above with SPM, but indicating a conscious disregard for the lives, safety, or property of others, such that the offender poses a continuing threat to public safety. Next review date, January 2028. Hopefully, in January of 2028, the same thing happens, right? And around April, we get notice that he was denied once again. And hopefully that rinse and repeat, and that continues until 2047, I think is when his time is up, right? 45 years, 20, like 2047. Uh, but it's just amazing to me, like I said, that he has the fan base that he still does after uh, after so much evidence, really, right? So much information about such disgusting things, unmentionable stuff, right? This isn't he was just a criminal or he was breaking the law. This is he was preying on children repeatedly, right? Once is too many. He's been doing it repeatedly. And shout out Texas, because I know sometimes, especially coming from California, uh, there's this narrative that like, oh, Texas supports SPM. I know a handful of people in Texas, and none of the ones that I know support him. Right? Shout out Texas Prison Stories, Tim Snow. He has exhaustively covered the SPM situation, the charges. He, he knows some of those folks in that whole dope house circle and stuff. So, he's from Texas. He's more connected to that world and has done some great content putting SPM on blast. And so if you do want to play catch up, or if you're not exactly sure, I would suggest go check out his videos. Uh, he will make a believer out of you, right? But so there are plenty of folks in Texas that don't rock with SPM. Just like for some reason there are people outside of Texas that do rock with them. I've been noticing a little bit over the last few months that some of his dope house records people, right, have been kind of backtracking, have been distancing themselves. Um, they're still putting the blame on him, like, oh, we were fooled by him too. So they're not really taking responsibility. Bass has not taken any responsibility for being a leading figure in misleading the public, right? He was SPM's biggest cheerleader, man, for a long time. And out there just creating all these wild narratives and then spreading them on platforms with gazillions of views. And people went for it. People that wanted to believe that he was innocent. Baby Bash gave them what they needed, right? To be able to run with that. And led to the families of the victims getting harassed and just all kinds of shit. So folks like that are backing away from SPM now. But it's not because of his charges, right? The dude been sitting in jail for 20 something years on these charges. And so I don't know. I don't follow that arena. I don't follow that world, but I have been waiting for this. And so there you have it. Carlos Coy, aka SPM, aka South Park Mexican, is gonna stay in the Ramsey unit, right? I'm pretty sure that that's where he's housed. Um, and he's not with anybody. He's all by himself. He doesn't get to program with people. He doesn't get to go out to the yard with people. He doesn't get to play handball and play basketball with folks and all this other stuff that has been put out there on his behalf and things that he has said. But I really think the last few months was a money grab. He was leveraging, and the people around him and content creators and everybody else, right, was leveraging him being up for parole and taking that attention to just monetize it. Because I don't expect really anybody's going to talk about him now, right? He wasn't being talked about very much before this, and now he can kind of go back under his rock, and all his fans can go back under their little rocks, and that'll be it. And then again, like I said, in 3 years we'll hear more. Uh, but there you have it. Help others move with excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. And yeah, salute Texas Department of Criminal Justice for doing the right thing on this one. You guys take care.